Volume of a cylinder. So, yesterday we talked about how we find the volume of a cylinder when we don't solve, we're just putting in the parts. Okay? Today we are going to solve. So I hope you all have your calculators. Good. Volume is the number of cubic units needed to fill a solid. To find the volume of a cylinder, you multiply the base area, which is your big B, times the height. Cylinders have two bases that are parallel congruent circles. Alright? So, what formula do we substitute in for our big B? And what is that? What formula is that? And where is it coming from?
The pi comes from big B.
Where is it coming from is my question.
The area of the base.
The area of the base, which is what?
The bottom.
What is the base? What shape is the base?
Circle.
A circle. So if you look at your formula chart, where do you find the formula for the area of a circle? Yeah. I can see you're all looking at your formula chart. You expect me to write it on the board to give it to you. Not going to happen. Please, Mason, don't say it out loud. Well, if you know it, then you can write it on your your paper, can't you? But for those of you who don't, you need to write it down. No, you need to look it up. Area of a circle. Write it underneath the big B, right there. Okay, pi r squared, and then you'd have to multiply that times the height of the prism. Okay, since the area of the base is a circle, the area of the circle is pi r squared, we have to multiply it times its height. Example number 1. Remember that r represents a radius. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between a radius, again, r, which is a radius, is halfway across, and a diameter, which is all the way across. That's a D for diameter. Okay? If you need a radius and you're given a diameter, what do? We take our diameter and divide it by 2, which gives us our radius. And I'm sorry, but for some reason my screen is not quite giving me what I want. I don't want it cropped, but it's not giving me a whole picture here. And I don't know why, but we're going to work these things out here as we go. Okay? Alright, so at this point, I'm just going to have to kind of move my paper from time to time. So in this one, here's step 1. For every problem you do, you are going to write V equals big BH. Step 2, you are going to write V equals pi r squared times height. And when we say pi r squared, we're meaning that when they're next to each other, you're multiplying them, okay? Then step 3, you can plug your numbers in. We've got pi times 4 squared times 11. This is our R, this is our H. So sometimes they ask you, and they ask you to leave it in terms of pi, and you need to understand what that means. It means that you do not calculate pi in the calculations. Pi, the pi symbol just sits next to the answer. So if I was going to do that, all I would do is take and put 4 squared times 11 in my calculator, and I am going to ask who, what, and where. Braylon, what is 4 squared times 11? $176, and then pi symbol would be sitting right next to it. That is the volume of that cylinder in terms of pi. So they haven't multiplied it times pi yet. Okay? Okay, please. Okay? All right? So if we need to find the volume to the nearest tenth, we're going to go back and we are going to go up to here and we are going to put in our calculator. We're going to put in pi times 4 squared times 11. And what do you get then? Nope. Not when you multiply it times pi. So y'all need to be doing it because you don't know who I'm going to ask. You're going to put your whole set of numbers in. A, blue. What's your answer? 552.9. It said to the nearest tenth, and so she rounded that because it was 0.920307. Okay, we have a pi button. Okay, 99% of the time the pi button will work. Okay, just fine. If they ask you on an open-ended, go ahead and use your 3.14. Okay? Go ahead and use 3.14 because then you won't have to do all this rounding. What's the difference? If you do 4 squared times 11 times 3.14, what's the answer when you do that?
I got it.
Okay. What do you get? 552 point what? 552.64. So in a multiple choice question, are you going to be able to find the answer? Okay. This is using the pi symbol on your calculator. We have a pi symbol. You don't have to remember 3.14, okay? Because 3.14 is just an approximation. And if you notice, I don't even believe that it's on your formula chart anymore, is it?
No.
Okay? So they're not asking you to approximate what pi is worth, okay? So let's do the next one. Step 1, what are we going to do? First, let's identify our parts. So 18, what is that? A diameter. So if it is a diameter, diameter equals 18, what am I going to have to do? So I'm going to have to take 18 divided by 2, and I'm going to get what? 9. Okay? So my R is equal to 9. What is my H?
12.
H is equal to 12. So now I'm ready to start. V is equal to big BH. What is big B? What is the formula for big B?
R squared.
Pi times R squared, and I need to make sure that I do it times the height. Okay? Now I'll plug it in. Pi times 9 squared times 12. Okay, let's not even worry about doing it in terms of pi. Let's go ahead and put in pi times 9 squared times 12. And Carlos, what do you get for an answer? 3,053 to the nearest tenth is going to be what? Point what? Tenth is the first number after the decimal. So what is it? Is it 0.5 or 0.6? 0.6, because it's 0.6288059, and this 2 says let that 6 rest, right? Okay. An easy way to remember tenths is the fact that if you were to write 10 cents, you would always do this, wouldn't you, in money?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is tenths. That spot where you put that 1, that's tenths. That's a trick to remember what tenths is. All right? All right, here we go, a word problem. A scented candle is in the shape of a cylinder with a radius of 4 centimeters and a height of 12. So I have R is equal to 4, H is equal to 12, and now I'm ready to work, right? I don't have to do anything. I have an R, I don't have a D. So V is equal to big BH. And I've got big B is represented by pi times R squared times H, my height. So just plug it in. Pi times 4 squared times 12. 3 steps each problem, and then an answer. And what do you get? Christopher. What do you got? What is the volume? Mm-hmm. Okay. 603.18, and it doesn't tell me what to round it to, so if it doesn't say, I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay? Any questions? All right, I'm going to give you your problems. Now, 3 steps every problem, okay, plus the answer. Okay. Take your shoes when you're going. Give me your shoes. Okay, we are going to be quietly working today. Some of you still owe me that angles paper. So, if you have not turned that in, if you finish this, you can do that. If you finish this before the end of class, then I have a spiral back here for you to work on. No, you're going to work on your paper. Three steps plus the answer, every problem. There's enough room for you to be able to work on the paper unless you write it really big. If you need some help, please let me know. What? All right, I'll get it stopped. No. What do you mean? You're going to give me the actual volume.